I'm all for it, man. I got a couple margaritas getting warm right now anyway, so I'm happy to. That's actually, yeah, actually, same as you guys, right? That's just a joke, Mom. We're not doing that at work. All right. So take us away. Sorry.
There's been some criticism from Democrats on the Hill, particularly Sherrod Brown, that the president has been even less involved in negotiations on health care since the Massachusetts elections. Is that true? Is that a strategy? Or are you taking that criticism seriously?
Well, look, obviously, as the president has said in the State of the Union, you heard the president say yesterday, obviously, the problem exists. It continues. The problem that did exist on high costs, small businesses struggling, that was the case before Massachusetts. It was the case after Massachusetts. I still think that a process is working its way through Capitol Hill, figure out the best way forward.
But has the president been less involved than he was even last year?
I didn't believe that the president was less involved last year, since we wouldn't have gotten to where we were if the president hadn't been involved.
What might be making people like Sherrod Brown say this then? There's got to be some reason.
That's a better question for him.
And is there any details you can share on the meeting this afternoon with the Democratic leadership?
I know the meeting was rescheduled, I think, till 3:45. It's a meeting to go through the legislative agenda for 2010. First and foremost, there'll be discussion on jobs and the economy. Financial regulatory reform will also be a topic. They will talk about energy and health care. Many of the topics that the president discussed in the State of the Union will be discussed in the meeting. And then, as you all know, next week, next Tuesday, we'll begin the president's bipartisan leadership meetings, also something he called for in the State of the Union.
The Chinese are dismissing the president's comments on China about exchange rates and trade yesterday, and I'm wondering, is the administration concerned that by pressuring the Chinese, they're running the risk of disrupting currency markets, antagonizing a very important creditor, and thereby driving up more borrowing costs that could hurt the U.S. economy?
No, Matt, because there's nothing that, I know there's been a flurry of stories about our relationship with China, whether it's issues surrounding our meeting with the Dalai Lama or issues surrounding currency or trade. Matt, none of these issues that have been written or discussed about in the last 2 weeks weren't discussed face-to-face between President Obama and President Hu when they met in Beijing. I cannot remember a time in which the president came out of a meeting with President Hu and those topics hadn't come up. So, as I said here a few days ago, we envision this relationship as one where we can work together on issues of mutual concern. We've worked together on stabilizing the world economy. We've worked together on issues of proliferation, particularly around North Korea. I think it's safe to assume that only through the important cooperation that we received with the Chinese that we were able to get some very strict sanctions through the United Nations Security Council on a unanimous vote several months ago, based on the actions the North Koreans had taken late last spring. There will be issues that we will disagree on, and we will disagree on them both in private and in public.
While the Chinese have been fulminating about the president's plan to meet with the Dalai Lama and also now this pressure about exchange rates, they're saying today that they don't even want to talk about further sanctions on Iran, that would be counterproductive. Is there any concern that the Chinese are becoming obstructionist in a kind of retaliation on other unrelated issues?
There are issues that are of mutual concern, and then there are issues that are of great concern to each of the individual countries. A nuclear Iran is not in the interest of the American government or the Chinese government. An arms race in the Middle East is not a good thing for us or for them. And a worldwide arms race and the destabilizing nature that that could have throughout the world is not a good thing for the American government or for the Chinese government. I think that the Chinese will continue to work with us on the important next steps that we have to take relating to Iran, because it's not just in our interest or in others' interest, it's quite clearly in their interest as well. What's that?
A quick follow. If Dalai Lama is still coming to meet with the president at the White House or not?
I'm sorry?
If Dalai Lama is still coming to meet with the president at the White House?
He will be here later this month, yes. Again, and let me say again, that we told President Hu in November in Beijing. The president told him that. The president discussed each of these issues: Iranian sanctions, larger proliferation, and currency.
Just to follow on the earlier question about the meeting with the Dems, is the message, or will the message also be from the president, sort of, can't we all get along, in light of the fact that we're hearing that there's disagreement and discontent on some of these issues?
Well, look, I think they will discuss a strategy moving forward to implement many of the ideas that are of concern to Democrats in the Senate and the House, that are also on the policy agenda of the President of the United States. I also think, Dan, there's great overlap between what those interests are and what the American people want to see their Congress deal with. First and foremost, a robust discussion on how to move forward on jobs and the economy.
The president has, of late, gone into the lion's den, taken questions from Republicans. He's taken questions from Democrats. He hasn't taken questions from the press in a primetime forum since last summer, I believe in July. Why not?
Look, the president has, as you mentioned, taken questions from members of Congress. He has taken questions at different press avails from a whole host of reporters. We've done countless numbers. Right, one or two, several times. We have done countless number of interviews. I think more interviews in the first year than any president, certainly in recent memory. He enjoys the format. We just haven't done one in a while.
Jake? Soon?
None that I'm aware of.
In the supplemental document, analytical perspectives of the president's budget, unemployment figures that the administration is projecting are pretty bleak. It's 10% for the rest of this year, 9.2% next year, 8.2% in 2012. First of all, these are pretty bleak figures. I wonder if you have a response to these numbers. And then second of all, is this factoring in a jobs bill or not?
Let me ask specifically the second part of your question to OMB and CEA. Jake, they are sad and sobering numbers felt each and every day by the American people. We'll get new jobs numbers tomorrow. There will be a jobs revision, I'm told, tomorrow that's likely to show additional job loss at the first part of the recession that started in December 2007, making the hole of job loss that we've dealt with even deeper. We didn't, as I've said here countless times, we didn't get here overnight. We won't get out of that hole overnight. It will take a concerted effort by the President and Congress working together, both parties, to strengthen our foundation and to create jobs moving forward that's not predicated on risky lending or housing speculation or running up massive debt on credit cards. We've got to create jobs in the new industries of clean energy manufacturing, so that we don't finish second place to the Chinese or the Indians in creating those new jobs.
Also, the numbers don't show the unemployment rate over the next decade going to even where they were in 2007 when the president announced he was running for this office. at all, at ever. They stop at 5.2%, but they never get down to below 5%, which is where they were when the president